Hi. Well, talking to Celeste today, I was having a conversation with her about how to deal with situations where you feel that someone is completely on a different wavelength to you and you have this feeling that you can't connect with them. And sometimes, besides it being a frustrating experience, we blame ourselves. Well, I at least have done this, and Celeste admitted that she did it too. We blame ourselves for not being able to manage our emotions, not being able to control how we're feeling, and being really hard on ourselves. And I said the funny thing is I've prepared a lesson on this on my trip when I was in the US, and I wrote it down in my little book of notes. So I'm going to share this with you on video so that you have it and you can listen to it as many times as you want. And I basically got this to help me from Esther and Jerry Hicks, the book Asking It Is Given, or an audio. I'm not too sure what I was listening to, but I got some tips and I decided to write this down, and I called it My Attitude is My Attitude. Yep, simple as that. My attitude is my attitude. So these are my notes and I'm going to read from them, so if I don't look up, forgive me. I've got here that nothing matters more than my mood, my attitude. You see, because my attitude or my mood is a reflection of what I've got going on vibrationally. So what I need to become aware of, and this is what I'd like to share and help others understand that you can do too, is what we've got to become aware of is becoming a responder to what I can't control. Because then I have no control of what I'm offering vibrationally, of my point of attraction. And this is obviously something that I do want to control. You see, because then if I'm responding to other people and I have no control on what I'm offering vibrationally, then what I'm going to want to do is, then I'm going to want to manipulate things. And I want to convince people that they should see things my way. And that's exhausting. It's exhausting for me. And trust me, when I do this, it's exhausting for them too. So, what I've come to realize is I'm a physical extension of source energy, and so are all of you. I am basically source energy in a physical body. I don't need validation to give me that feeling of completion. So as long as I look at another, or basically as long as I look to another, or to a situation, or to anything outside of me for it, when I say it, I mean that feeling of being whole and complete, that validation, I'm never going to get there. Because then I'm looking for love in all the wrong places. So often in this instance, I'm really hard on myself with this, creating my own reality thing. So as an example, I might say to myself when I'm feeling out of connection with someone, I never stopped the momentum early enough. Look how bad I feel now. Or I should have known better than this. I've been practicing this for so long. How come I couldn't get it right? Or I should have done my gratitude journal this morning. Or a list of positive aspects on the situation or these people. Or, hey, I haven't paid attention to my emotional guidance system. Because when I'm doing that, then I think I'm not living the perfect life. When, here it comes, living the perfect life is moving through the contrast. It's having these experiences which don't feel good. That is living the perfect life. Did you get that? Living the perfect life is moving through contrast. And why do I say this? Because I'm ravenous in my desire for expansion. We are all here for further expansion and fuller expression. And I'm ravenous about my desire for expansion. So my perfect life is moving through contrast, because as I'm moving through contrast, I'm learning more about myself and I'm becoming a better and grander and more expanded version of myself. So what's most important here is the emotion that I feel at any point in time is the most important manifestation. The most important manifestation. I'll say it again. The emotion that I feel at any point in time is the most important manifestation, because it's a manifestation indication. It's a temporary manifestation indication. It's not an indictment of who I am. So all that self-criticizing or self-judgment that I didn't get this right, and how come I let the momentum get so far ahead of me, and how come I didn't pay attention to my emotion system? This is a temporary manifestation indication. It's not an indictment of who I am. It's not a punishment of who I've been. You see, emotions are an indication of how much I'm asking and how much in alignment I am with the asking. So, when I feel blame or anger or guilt, or when I say, I need to get better at this, I need to get a grip, then Abraham Hicks says, we want you to appreciate that manifestation. We want you to appreciate experiencing that contrast. Why? Because it's like looking at your petrol gauge in your car. When you got your petrol gauge in your car on empty, it lets you know, right? You don't go and beat up your car because your petrol tank is on empty. You go and fill up your petrol tank. It's the same with you. When you're feeling frustrated, when you're not feeling good, when you're not connecting with people, your emotions are your guidance system. And you need to embrace that and say, well, my petrol tank is empty, but I know how to fill it. So let's carry on. So every time I'm mad at myself, I'm looking at it in the wrong way. Every time I'm mad at someone else, I'm looking at it in the wrong way. Whenever I'm not in a state of appreciation, I'm not allowing that which I truly am. So my job is to care about how I feel more than anything else. Because when you're in alignment, this is when we're in a state of allowing. So when we're allowing, we are basically in alignment or in connection with that who I really am. And when you're in that state, it's the opposite of resistance. So the art of allowing, and we talk about allowing because it means we're allowing everything that we really truly want and desire that makes us happy and joyous to flow into our experience. That's what we call allowing. It's the opposite of resistance. When you're feeling really good, you're allowing. When you feel really bad, you're resisting. So the art of allowing is all about controlling my point of attraction. And a momentum of resistance is going on, and in the way of my allowing, if I've been complaining or having thoughts about conditions that don't please me or how it should be different. So the bottom line here, and I actually posted this on Facebook yesterday or the day before, I can feel as bad or as good as I'm willing to let myself feel. It's my choice. So, as harsh as this may sound, stop blaming what I can't control when there is so much that I can control. Isn't that beautiful? So practice for a while the path of least resistance, which is the path of most allowing. So therefore, not putting up with conditions that detract from my alignment. Not demanding that others change for me. How do we do that? How do we not have this feeling inside that others should change for me and give me a better experience? Well, go with the flow. So the analogy is, if you're in a boat, it's always got a current in any river. It's always going downstream. Rivers all go downstream towards the sea, every river in the world. So if you're in a boat on the river, you can either make a lot of effort and resist and go upstream, and it's a lot of hard work and it's exhausting for you and exhausting for everyone else. Or, when I say go with the flow, what I mean is you let go of the oars. You just let go of the oars and you go with the flow. So if you want to know more about that, I can share that with you in another video because I have some ideas on that too, or some notes on that too. So moment for moment, we need to ask, when we're feeling this out of alignment feeling, is what is the path of least resistance? So what I would say is, don't try to run away from the conditions that are not pleasing. Don't think we need to avoid these people or the situation that is not pleasing. we need to work through this contrast, but don't try to deal with it at the point of frustration. So the analogy that I think Esther Hicks talks about is everyone in the house has a drawer where you don't know what to put things, you just open the drawer and you chuck this in. You don't know where to put this, you open the drawer and chuck this in. And you don't know where to put this thing, and you open the drawer and you chuck this in. And eventually you have this drawer full of messy stuff, and it's in the back of your mind giving you frustration. Well, the point is, she says, don't clean out the drawer in the middle of your frustration. So first find a way to the path of least resistance that works for me. And then when I'm in a better feeling place on another day, then go out and clean out the drawer and deal with it in that way. But don't do it in the height of frustration, in the height of resisting. So the question is, what can I think or feel or say or do that will allow me to be the most in the present moment? Because when you're most in the present moment, you release that resistance. So when experiencing resistance, here's an idea. You could say something like, are you kidding? All these planets are revolving in absolutely perfect proximity to each other. The sun is shining, it comes up every day. I'm in a safe place. I'm perfectly healthy. Thank you for my perfect health. Thank God or source energy or infinite intelligence. Just thank something. Look at yourself and say, see how blessed I am, how fortunate I am. Practice gratitude. Make a list of things that are you appreciative about. And then even be grateful for this experience of contrast for you, because see how even this problem has enormous value in it for me. If I can just stop railing against it and stop condemning myself for being in the middle of it and stop condemning anyone else for being the cause of it or in the middle of it too. Rather, just accept it. Accept it as an indication of a pattern of vibration that I'm working on. Yes, that I'm working the bumps out of in order to live my most blissful life experience. And then, as you do that, don't reactivate it every day. Because when you go into sleep at night, you release all resistance. That's when you definitely release all resistance. So you wake up in the morning in the best place for the start of that day. So when you wake up, don't reactivate that resistance the very next day. Maybe start the very first thing with gratitude. And remember, how you go to bed at night is how you wake up in the morning. So maybe do your gratitude journal last thing before you go to bed and thank whoever it is, or God for you, or source energy for this experience to help you become aware of your emotional guidance system and an opportunity for you to iron out the bumps in this experience to make you become a better person. And ultimately, doing this more and more every day, this is for me anyway, and I'm sure it's helpful for anyone else, is I see unconditional alignment as a synonym for unconditional love. Because if we practice unconditional love, no one's going to irritate us. Nothing's going to irritate us. And we can try to get there. It's a long step, but by practicing gratitude every day. Your blessings, make a point of counting them. Actually take a pen and paper and start counting your blessings, and go on that as long as you have the time. Keep going. It will raise and raise and raise your vibration, and you'll get to a point where you feel really, really good, in a higher, better feeling place, and more in alignment with source energy, more in alignment with who you truly are. And if any of that doesn't work, then do what I love doing, is see the miracle in a flower. Take any flower and stare at it long enough and ask yourself, how was this created? And how did this beautiful, colorful, beautiful smelling, beautifully designed flower grow out of brown sand? See the miracle in a flower. Hope this has been helpful. Thanks.